This is Channel 11, WPIX, New York.
Tonight, the sold-out Billy Idol concert at Madison Square Garden canceled due to asbestos. It's a Pooch's Paradise, the air-conditioned doghouse from the Jim and Tammy Bakker auction.
Well, I just started bidding. I said if it don't go over $800, we'll take it home.
Sugar Ray Leonard plays a big role in saving the life of a kidnapped 18-month-old baby girl. And now you see it, now you don't, the magic of the knuckleball.
This is the Independent News with Brad Holbrook and Donna Hanover.
Good evening. New York City's Buildings Commissioner blames carelessness for yesterday's fatal construction accident.
A wooden beam fell 41 stories from a Manhattan construction site, killing a passerby. Officials say the site has a history of violations and complaints, but it's not yet known if there will be criminal charges. Here's Colleen Hunt.
Construction is suspended temporarily at the 55-story condominium where falling debris partially decapitated a pedestrian yesterday. A preliminary investigation by the Department of Buildings concluded it was a 4x4 wooden support beam from the 41st or 49th floor that plunged clear across 8th Avenue, killing 30-year-old John Nichols. The beam apparently had only been wedged, not fastened into place.
Carelessness, right. That's what I would attribute it to.
Residents around here say the death of John Nichols was a tragedy that could have been avoided if the city had only heeded their warnings. The Department of Buildings acknowledges it received 11 complaints from neighbors about the way the tower is being constructed. The Department of Buildings even acknowledges that a number of those complaints concerned falling debris. So why, neighbors are asking, did nobody pay attention?
And every time the wind blows, things have blown off of this. Pieces of wood have fallen into the middle of the street. Really big things fall into the middle of the street that would have crushed cars.
Charles Smith, Commissioner of the Department of Buildings, argues his office has done something about the complaints. They have issued 16 violations, ranging up to $600, and have stopped work on the project 6 times, for periods ranging up to 24 hours. But you've had repeated reports of falling debris, so is closing it down for 24 hours an appropriate response?
I think for the occasions that it was a response to, yes. I think that, remember I said, I do not have the legal authority to close down a site beyond their correcting the conditions that, in the first place, we cited.
A man is dead, yet Charles Smith says he can't think of a reason good enough to shut down a construction project permanently, only temporarily. Neighbors say they can think of a few good reasons. They claim the workmen on this project are visibly guzzling alcohol on the job and acting in a careless and reckless manner with dangerous equipment.
But 3 times I've seen them drop things off of this building. I've seen them drinking and smoking pot.
Those reports of drinking on this project apparently are not exaggerated. Just a few minutes ago, this beer can came flying off the building straight across the street and hit our car. In fact, we spotted evidence of the open beer guzzling up on the construction platforms. The contractor of Central Park Place, HRH Construction, refused to answer any questions today. The developer of the project, Columbus Circle Development, also declined comment. In Manhattan, this is Colleen Hunt reporting.
Fans who were planning to attend tonight's sold-out Billy Idol concert at Madison Square Garden are out of luck. The show has been canceled. The reason? Asbestos located far above the garden floor in an area called the garden roof. Workmen were unable to remove the dangerous insulation in time for tonight's show. The asbestos does not pose a public health hazard, but rather a hazard for Billy Idol's crew. They needed access to the area to install lights for the concert. Efforts are being made to reschedule the show, but many of the rock star's fans were on their way to the garden when the cancellation was announced.
No, we're just extremely mad, considering that we paid $80 from a scalper, $80 a piece for tickets, and we're only going to get back to 20 that it says on the ticket.
This is twice in 1 week. The Flyers lost this week, and now this. I need something to, to boost my spirits.
I just traveled 300 miles. And
where'd you come from?
Up Lake George.
Ticket holders are being advised to cash in their tickets. Refunds will be given starting tomorrow at noon at Madison Square Garden and Ticketron.
Any and all foreigners who enter this country, whether they're tourists on business or immigrants, should be tested for AIDS, according to Mayor Ed Koch. The mayor says he fears that if testing is not required, then AIDS patients from all around the world will come to the United States to take advantage of government assistance for indigents.
Can you imagine the impact on the cost to us? We don't turn anybody away in our municipal hospitals, but we are not the municipal hospitals for the whole world.
Koch says it costs the city an average of $150,000 for each and every AIDS patient treated at a municipal hospital.
The AIDS epidemic has only begun, warns an international health expert. As many as 10 million people around the world are already infected with the AIDS virus, says Dr. Jonathan Mann of the World Health Organization. At the 3rd International Conference on AIDS in Washington, Mann warned AIDS deaths could cause political and economic upheaval in countries with many AIDS patients.
If worldwide 5 to 10 million people are currently HIV infected, and assuming that 10 to 30% of these persons will develop AIDS during the next 5 years, then from 500,000 to 3 million new AIDS cases will emerge from persons already infected today with HIV.
As of yesterday, more than 51,500 cases of AIDS had been reported in 113 countries. Brad?
And when we come back, the defense rests in the attempted murder trial of Bernhard Goetz.
There is a new man taking over the Federal Reserve Board, and 2 Pennsylvania pooches are real cool cats, thanks to Jim and Tammy Bakker. We'll be right back.
Something special is arriving. A remarkable car, available at a remarkable price. Because your local dealer has special factory incentives to make exceptional deals. The car is the German-engineered Audi 4000, and it's priced to bring first-class travel down to earth. Now get great deals plus free scheduled maintenance on your new Audi 4000 for 3 years or 40,000 miles.
Today in music history, brought to you by Trident Gum. Taste the one that will win you over to sugarless gum.
He emerged as lead singer of Genesis in 1976. In '81, personal problems and eventual divorce gave him enough material to write his first solo LP, Face Value. Phil Collins established himself as a major solo artist with the release of this album. Today, June 2nd, 1981.
Trident helps fight cavities, and it always has?
Helps fight cavities? Come on.
I mean, I've been fighting cavities all this time without even knowing it. I knew Trident didn't cause cavities, but help fight them.
Be great if it's true.
New dental studies prove chewing Trident after sugary snacks reduces acids that form on teeth. It's these acids that can cause cavities. Ask your dentist.
It's nice to hear a little good news once in a while.
Something that's delicious and good for you, too?
Why chew any other gum?
Trident, good to chew and fights cavities, too.
The trial of accused subway gunman Bernhard Goetz is drawing to a close tonight. The defense rested its case today without Bernhard Goetz testifying in his own behalf. Eric Shawn has the story.
The defense of Bernhard Goetz rested its case. The end brought crucial testimony from 2 defense witnesses. One, Transit Authority Detective Charles Pendleton, recalled a hospital bed admission by Troy Canty, one of the young men Goetz shot. He said Canty admitted Goetz was surrounded on the subway, that supporting Goetz's claim.
I said on the stand that Troy Canty said, we all went over to the white guy. I said, by all, do you mean all of you? He said, yes, all of us. That's it.
On the stand, Pendleton also said he asked Canty, why did you pick him? The guy looked soft, he recalled Canty as saying, you mean gay? No, I mean soft. But under cross-examination by prosecutor Gregory Waples, Pendleton admitted Canty told him he was only borrowing $5, and he described Canty as drowsy and heavily sedated from the hospital drugs. Earlier, Dr. Dominic DeMeo, a former New York City medical examiner, stood his ground under Waples' intense scrutiny. DeMeo adamantly refused to back down from his testimony that Darrell Cabey, whose spine was severed by Goetz's bullet, was not shot sitting in a subway seat, but was shot standing up. In his videotaped confession in New Hampshire, Goetz told police one of the young men was seated when he pulled the trigger.
And I said, you seem to be doing all right. Here's another.
Why are you so certain that Cabey was shot standing up?
Because of the path of the bullet in the body. It first went horizontal and then took an upward course. And the fact that the spine was completely severed would be compatible with the fact that he will fall backward right into the seat.
I think that the basic expert testimony indicates that Bernie was not correct in what he said on that videotape.
After 10 witnesses for Goetz, 32 for the prosecution, Slotnick has rested his case without ever calling Bernhard Goetz to the stand. On Friday, the prosecution will be offered a rebuttal Then next week, the jurors will finally receive this momentous case. In their hands will rest the future of Bernhard Goetz, self-defense or attempted murder. I'm Eric Shawn at the Bernhard Goetz trial at Manhattan State Supreme Court.
He is already a hero to millions. Now add 18-month-old Alicia Washington to the list. The baby girl's life was saved thanks to the help of boxing great Sugar Ray Leonard. According to police, Leonard was able to convince the kidnapper of the baby girl to lead him to her. Police say 27-year-old Tony Spaulding, who was recently fired from his job with the Washington Fire Department, kidnapped the baby girl yesterday and demanded to speak to the champ. Leonard, who lives in nearby Potomac, Maryland, spoke with the man, who then led him to a wooded area where the child was lashed to a tree. Spaulding had been living with the girl's mother.
So far this year, Jerry's been making nice about the Yankees. Not so tonight, huh?
Well, a couple things are starting to bug me. I've just been handed the lineup. Thanks, Lou. You can go to the stadium. And Henderson is not playing again, and he's, the last couple of years, a nick here and a bruise there. He's got to start playing hurt because they need this guy badly. The second thing is, last night Piniella batted Pasqua fourth. We've been through this before, but the guy is hitting 198 and he's batting cleanup. Now, I understand he's trying to do it to build up his confidence. Fine. Send him to Juilliard to get confidence and poise, then bring him back. Tonight, he's batting seventh, so he's come to his senses. It's also the way Pasqua is making out. He's not swinging at the third strike. Why? I don't know. Here's one of them last night. Witt gives him a curveball, and all right, it's marginal. It might have been inside, but when you've got 2 strikes on you, you've got to fight those pitches off. You've got to go for it. Now here, first and second, he takes a cold third strike. Look at this curveball. It's not even a good one because it's not low. It's right down the middle. Unbelievable. Randolph made a big error. See, the mistake here is to go back and try to field it backhanded toward the sky. That's a risky type of a catch, and sure enough, he blows it. Then the next hitter hits one to right field. Now remember, Bob Boone is at first base. Winfield didn't think he was going to go. Slight hesitation. Boone kept going, and he made it. Can't assume a thing. As for Hudson, nothing on his fastball. Take a look at the movement on a fastball. There isn't any here to the sensei. Straight as a string, home run. So last 3 times out, Hudson has failed. Meanwhile, the Mets are forced to go with Edens in L.A. tonight against a real Met killer, Bob Welch. Last night, they beat Fernando again. Boy, they have his number. Third inning, 1-0 Mets. Carter singles to center. Everything was falling in front of the fielders on L.A., bouncing behind him. Shelby fighting that ball. It was 2-0 then. Fifth inning, here is Johnson with Strawberry at second base. Lines one to the left. A lot of left fielders would have had this. Not Guerrero. He knocks it down. It's all they did all night, knock balls down. 3-0. Santana singles up the middle to make it 4-0. Now here's the real Fernando killer coming up, Mookie Wilson. No matter what he throws him, especially that screwball, Mookie's got it timed. Drives one to right field over Marshall's head. Where he was playing is beyond me. 5-0. They went on to win easily. The first pick in baseball's amateur draft, 17-year-old Ken Griffey Jr., son of the former Reds and Yankee outfielder who is now with the Braves. The kid is a carbon copy of his dad, an outfielder who hit .478. However, that was in high school this year. We know about that. At Wrigley this afternoon, there was a rain delay, but they are playing again. In the 6th inning, the Cubs lead it 9-1. Lendl, Martina, Chrissy once again make the semis at the French Open. Lendl, top of your screen here, serving to Gomez. If you stay at the baseline, you're dead against Lendl. It was all Lendl after he lost the first set, 7-5. Here's Gomez with a short approach, and he's going right through the passing shot down the line. Claudia Koch. Nice return to Martina's serve, but look at this volley. Spectacular play at the net. Again, Koch serving this time. Good return by Martina, sets up the passing shot. She wins it in straight sets, no surprise there. Chris Everett now serving to Rafaela Reggie. All Chrissy chops her up, 6-2, 6-2. The crowd started to chant, Reggie, Reggie. Jackson arrives from New York, but then realized the mistake. In Los Angeles tonight, they're at it again, the Lakers and Celtics. Celtics, 10-point underdogs. May seem crazy to you, but remember these trips to Pontiac against the Pistons? It's about right. Lakers in 5. That's a story in sports. Here's Donna.
Thank you, Jerry. The heat wave may be but a memory, but unfortunately, the muggy weather we're having right now will continue to make us uncomfortable for the next couple of days. Bob Harris has the night off, so here is the weather report. Right now in Central Park, it is 74 degrees. It is mostly cloudy. The humidity is 76%. The barometer reads 30.02 and is rising. The winds are out of the northeast at 10 miles an hour. For the remainder of tonight, it'll be cloudy and cooler, the low temperature in the low 60s. Tomorrow will be mostly cloudy and humid with a 50% chance of light rain, the high temperature in the mid-70s. Thursday, rain is likely, the high temperature once again in the mid-70s.
And finally tonight, congratulations to the Necro boys, Joe and Phil, the winningest pair of brothers in Major League Baseball history. Last night, Phil won the duo's 530th game, surpassing the Perry brothers' old record of 529. The Necros, as you know, are both knuckleball pitchers, Phil for Cleveland, Joe for the Yankees. The knuckleball has always been one of baseball's mystical, magical elements. It defies description or understanding. That is, until now.
You ever tried to catch a butterfly in a high wind? Well, that's what it's like to try to catch.
He's talking about the knuckleball, and if it's that hard to catch, you know it's got to be tough to hit, too. The problem is it's also awfully hard to throw. There haven't been many who've ever been able to master it. The Cleveland Indians' Phil Necro is one of the few, the proud, the brave knuckleball pitchers in Major League Baseball today. He's taught teammate John Candiotti how to throw it, too. Batters and catchers cuss the knuckleball pitcher.
You set your glove up like you're going to catch it, and all of a sudden the doggone thing's over here, it's over there, or goes down. And
why does the knuckleball knuckle? How does throwing a baseball so slowly with no rotation cause it to act so funny? Professor Joel Hollenberg knows. He's studied the knuckleball off and on for the past several years. Off and on because he's also had to do some serious work in that time to earn a living. Professor Hollenberg put a baseball in a wind tunnel and charted the effects wind has on the ball as it travels the 60 feet 6 inches to home plate.
It can curve both up and down and back and forth, and it can also do this in the very last stages of the trajectory rather abruptly.
Hollenberg says because the pitch is thrown so slowly, about half the speed of a fastball, it has longer to react to the forces of wind friction and gravity. Also, since it ideally has no rotation, the pitch is more unstable. Can the knuckleball be thrown even more effectively? So there are things you can teach Phil Necro about his knuckleball?
I think so.
It may be safe to assume that most Major League Baseball players would like to see Professor Hollenberg get back to work on more academic pursuits.
Very interesting. Speed of the fastball, that's amazing. That is our report for Tuesday, June 2nd. I'm Donna Hanover. We'll be back tomorrow at 7:30.
I'm Brad Holbrook. Thanks very much for being with us. See you tomorrow night at 7:30.
WPIX has news bureaus in New Jersey at 223 Montrose Avenue, Rutherford, and on Long Island at 3000 Hempstead Turnpike, Levittown.
Coming up next on Channel 11, the Yankees versus the Angels.